Hello ladies and gentlemen, it's Swissman15 back with another episode. This is going to be a quick one, hopefully. This is for the Realistic Rules tournament, apparently Realistic Rules unit roster. It's for the tournament that me and Captain Invisible are hosting. I just broke down every single faction right now, and I'm going to show you each faction, all the elite units and hired units, and the rest are going to be levies. Just to clarify what they are, to go with the rules, which are max 6 elite troops, max 10 hired troops, max 2 artillery, max 1 order unit, which counts as an elite unit, and no musketeers. So this is just going to be able to clarify which units you can and not get based on these rules, so you don't get too many elites or too many hired, and etc., etc. But before I do that, I just want to say to everyone who's thinking of applying, if you're thinking of applying, just find a teammate. If you can't find one, comment on here. People, you can look down in the comments, see if anyone's looking. If not, you can comment, wait for someone to respond to you, or find someone online that you work well with. And once you have someone you think you can team with, please comment here with team name, both your player names on Steam, and then finally your locations, so that I can try and group people based on time zones for the beginning, so at least the first matches are easy to schedule. But so let's go right into this. I just thought it would be easier to clear up what units are better or what units are not better, but what units are where in each faction, so what you can and can't get with each faction based on the rules and such, if you want to go by the maxes and actually play well, because people are some people have been very confused by it. Captain Invisible and I were like, I thought these were simple and logical. Okay, but I have all the factions in order, so you can go through and look at them. You can skip through if you're not sure in the future, or you can watch the entire thing to see the logic, because I'm explaining logic for a few of them, but I'll just go through them as quickly as I can, and basically all of you can use them to make sure that your armies are good when you're making armies and such. So first we have the Byzantine Empire. Of course, the General's Bodyguard is always elite. Vardardiote and Cataphractoire, those are the elite ones. Latin Con is a bit iffy, but it's there. Byzantine Guard Archers, anything with Guard is really elite. Just not Latin Con and Range Guard, obviously the heavy infantry. So here we have the Byzantine Cavalry, Scythicon, that's an archer unit, all these ones. Trebizond Archers are actually hired, I would say, because they do have some armor, and it's up to a lot of, like, judgment here, so this is my judgment. Maybe Captain doesn't agree with me. Hopefully he does, because he made the rules, or he made the original idea, then I helped him. I want to get some credit, a little bit, like 10% of the credit. 10%. I want 10% credit. Alright, and then we have Denmark. We have the General's Bodyguard, Norse War Clerics, are very armored, Chivalric Knights as well, Knights Hospitaller, and Templar, which are order units, so you can only get one of either. You can't get both. The Obidasher, which is like the Halderb unit, or Sword Staff, something like that. And then you have all the Feudal Knights or Saxon. They're all heavily armored, of course. They're going to be the elites. Hired, we have Huskarls. Those are actually hired. They're not as good as the other ones. They're like low nobles and like such. So Merchant Cav, definitely hired. Any Cav, by the way, is going to be hired at minimum. Just for reference, Scouts, Mountain Crossbows. Handgunners are going to be hired. Any guns are hired. Norse Archers, Arquebuses. Dismounted Huskarls, of course. Same with Huskarls. Sword Staff Militia and Norse Swordsmen. They're all hired. Alright. Egypt. General's Bodyguard, Mamluk Archers, and Royal Mamluks, which is weird, because Mamluks I would consider are hired, or else Egypt is not going to be balanced. Also, there's some switches, because you have to balance the factions in order to make it all work in the end. Hashashim, which is another order unit, so you can only get one of them maximum. And then Tabadoria, which is their only heavy infantry, really. For hire, they have Desert Cavalry, of course. Those are all the different ones. Khwarizmian Cav, which is a mercenary. Most of the time, mercenaries are hired. Few exceptions, the really bad ones, like not bad, but they're not good. They're like peasant levies, like religious fanatics. They're just people with clubs, really, but they're really fun to use. Nafatuns, they're definitely hired. Halder militia, even though they're militias, they are better quality, and I would consider them hired because they've been given some training and some like better weapons and some armor, because they're like in the middle. They're not amazing. Let's go with that. Okay. Oh, did I mention if they're not elite or hired, they're levies, and you can get as many as you want, just so you know. So we're on to England. General's Bodyguard, of course. English Knights. Retinue Longbowmen. Those are the second archers that are elite. They have really good melee stats, and they have the effective armor and the stakes. So they are very good archers, and they would qualify as elite. And then you have all the heavy infantry, of course. Hired Demi-Lancers. I don't think they're elite quite yet. They are... I think they're hired. If you hear the background noise, I do apologize. I told them to shut up like 7 times. They're my sisters, so that's what I tell them to do, is shut up. Holy Bars, Cav, all of them. All forms of Billmen and Bill Militia, because there's like 4 of them. I wasn't going to list all of them and be like, yeah, they're all hired. They all have armor, and they're all good to an extent, so they're definitely hired troops. Yeoman Longbows and Longbowmen, Sherwood Archers, those are all hired, I would say. They're not at the standard to be elite, but they're definitely hired. France, this is where it gets a lot of things. You have all the pikemen over here, but you have the French mounted archers, which are elite. Noble Knights, Lancers, Scots Guard are definitely elite. Dismounted French archers are definitely elite, and then all the heavy infantry are those elite. Gendarmes, those are not elite. Those are actually going to be qualified as hired, because it gives the Cav factions like an edge in Cav, because they better not elite Cav that they can get. It's also a way of balancing factions, and they are technically like not the greatest, so they are going to be under hired. Also, Aventurier. Now, I could see a large argument for them being elite, and I was really borderline with them, but I put them in hired because if not, France is just not worth playing. They're already so expensive, and if you can't get Aventurier, you're not going to have any good archers at all, so they're just not worth playing if you can't get them, so that's why I put them in hired. Because if you can only get Aventurier as elite, then you have nothing good else. So that's why I put them there. Then you can also get all these pikemen that are really good, the Voltigeurs, Swiss pikemen, Flemish pikemen, and yeah, the surgeons and such. So that's France. Holy Roman Empire, of course. General's Bodyguard, Teutonic Knights, those on order, you can only get one of them. Gothic Knights, but no one is ever going to get those, hopefully. Rioters are elite, and I really want to see those at some point in the tournament. They are really fun Cav, so Rioters, if you want to use them, expensive too. Zweihander, no one's going to use them. Just want Gothic Knights, hopefully no one uses them. Hopefully. Yes, and so they have no really good hired Cav, as you can see. Mailed Knights, they're on the borderline. They're borderline. They're average. Imperial Knights are definitely elite, though, which is unfortunate, because they are really good Cav Imperial Knights. Hungary, Royal Bandrium, those are definitely elite. Knights of Salar, Chivalric Knights. Hungarian Nobles, those are the missile Cav, those are elite. They can stand up to heavy Cav in a melee. They are definitely really strong. And Battlefield Assassins as well, along with the heavy infantry. Those are all elite. But then you have Hussars, which are great Cav, almost heavy Cav quality, but they're light Cav, they're really fast, and they are going to be hired. They're not elite. You can get them... They're sort of like a militias, or lightly armored. I think they're definitely hired. Merchant Cav, Magyar Cav, another... arch unit, and then they lack hired infantry. Pavi, Spearmen, and Kurt Axemen, they're both pretty good, but then they have the militias like Halder Militia, which have no armor and not those good of stats, so those qualify as full-blown militia. And Pavi's crossbow militia. Pavi's crossbows are always hired. It balances factions well. Milan, Famiglia Ducale, definitely hired. Broken Lances are hired, and I didn't necessarily want the mounted version to be, but I want to keep it consistent with Broken Lances mounted and dismounted with elite or hired. So I put Men-at-Arms, which they don't have much training. It says in the description and all, so they're definitely, I think, hired. They're all, you pay for the armor and you use them. So I'm going to put them under hired, and including dismounted Men-at-Arms. So that's definitely going to make... I think I contradicted myself with Doc the other day, so I'm going to apologize for him, because I think you could use them, and it's definitely a perk for Milan to be able to have them. Or he was playing something else, one of the Italian factions. So you can get them. I would agree that you can get them as the Italian factions, because their strength is probably heavy infantry at the finest, so you can get some hired heavy infantry. Not the bravest heavy infantry, but you can get them hired. But also now they don't have good Cav. Italian factions don't necessarily have good Cav, and that's a drawback. And Cariaco Standard, important, that's elite. That is definitely elite. They have elite troops guarding it. I'm putting it there as elite. So, balancing them out again. Mongols, Khan's Guard, Heavy Lancers, Heavy Archers, Dismounted Heavy Archers, those are all elite. The rest of the cav are all pretty much, those are hired, and then you have the Light Lancers and Dismounted Light Lancers are all hired troops to an extent. So yeah, very simple for the Mongols. I think it's rather clear cut for them, and the rest, of course, are levy troops. Those Mongol foot archers are definitely levies. Moors, Christian Guard, Camel Gunners, you can get those. So there's a good Hashishim, which are an order troop, and Dismounted Christian Guard as well, which are another. Those are the Christian Guard, heavy infantry and all. So those are all elite. Clearly, I think that's clear cut. They don't have many elite troops there, but then they have all the Grenadines, Grenadine Lancers, Grenadine Genites. So those are all hired. All these cav up here, the gunners and such. We have. By the way, if you didn't notice by now, all of these are listed cav, missile, and then infantry. So then a lot of spearmen at the bottom here for hired, so gotta watch out. But they don't have many archers there, because desert archers, they don't have any armor, they're not that well trained, they're just like people who've used bows in the past, so they're going to be levy style, and peasant crossmen are peasants with crossbows. So they just happen to be really, really good. Really good crossbows that have been given to them, so I'm not going to consider them hired. Papal States. General's Bodyguard, Knights Templar, Broken Lances, pretty much the same, but Swiss Guard and Papal Guard, both elite, pretty much given by the guard name. Oh, that's not supposed to be Caraccio Standard. That's supposed to be Great Cross, my bad. Great Cross is elite. As I was saying, excuse me for the interruption, but okay, Caraccio Standard, I mean Great Cross again. That's Great Cross, Great Cross. Great Cross for the Papal States is elite, same thing as the deals the Caraccio Standard. Men-at-Arms are still hired. Both of the Pobby's Crossmen and Crossbow Militia, those are both hired as well. And there should be no more trouble with that, but you have the list here. Poland. Polish Guard and Polish Knights, those are all elite. Polish Nobles. Dismounted Polish Nobles, I used them in a battle recently, and I thought they were considered hired, because they're at the same quality as, like, Spearmen. But they are, since they are Polish Nobles, the cav version are elite, so the dismounted version will be elite as well. Just to keep it consistent with Captain, he thinks they should, so I'm going to agree with him. Hussars and Polish Retainers, those are both really good cav, and they're both hired, so they're both very useful. It makes Poland a very useful faction now, and I love these rules because they balance out Poland. It's great. Portugal. Also, I didn't do the Aztecs, by the way, because I don't think any of them count as... Well, they could be hired in nobles, but they're just so bad that you can... Now the Aztecs might actually be viable if they don't have any balance. And my sister's trying to call me. She's been trying to call me. Like, literally, she was calling me before. That's why I had to stop recording. She's annoying, but now she's literally calling my phone. It's right here on silent. Okay. Oh, whoops. All right. Portugal. Conquistadors, definitely elite, highly trained, best units in the game, at least dismounted. Dismounted ones are definitely the very, very good. Aventureiros are definitely elite, and nothing else of strange here. Portuguese Knights. Knights of Santiago, those are another order unit. Those are elite as well. Hired-wise, Swordsman Militia, I would consider hired. They are given so much, and that if you keep them as... If they're just levy, then Portugal gets a huge advantage, so let's not go down that road. All Mungvars, those javelins, those are hired, but the... what are they? Another javelin that Portugal has is not. Those are... Sorry guys, my sister just won't shut up because she's annoying. Anyway, so I cut it out. She was trying to talk to me and blah, 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 blah. Just let's get past that. Alright, Portugal, all Mongvars, hired. Russia, Sarsgaard, Dvar, and dismounted Dvar, Cossack cavalry, those are all elite troops. I don't think they're hired at all. They're definitely very well trained and very well used and stuff. Druzina are hired though. Boyar Sons and dismounted Boyar Sons, those are all hired. Wait. Oh, I said Boyar Sons twice, but dismounted Boyar Sons right here. Dismounted Boyar Sons is what it's supposed to be. Those are not elite, they're hired. Even though there are the nobles, it's just that if you can't get infantry at all, that'll suck for Russia. And they're already so expensive, so if you want to waste all your money on them, be my guest. Scotland, General's Bodyguard, Knights Hospitaller, those are all things we know. Noble Pikemen, those are elite pikemen. Why do I have dismounted English Knights here? Those are supposed to be dismounted feudal knights. That's the thing. Dismounted feudal knights. Censor the English. That's feudal knights now. Okay, okay. Hired wise, the Galoge, those are the mercenary two-handed axemen. Those are definitely hired troops. Highland nobles, heavy pike militia, those are all hired. And the Highland archers are hired troops, I would say, argue. Like the Norse archers were also hired. They have so much armor and they're good in melee that I would consider them hired. Sicily, we have chivalric knights, Norman knights, those are all hired, dismounted broken lances, and feudal knights. And here's what I don't like about them, is that they've dismounted men-at-arms, and that makes them very, very strong Italian faction, very strong. So we'll see about that. Sword and bucklemen are elite, by the way. Another thing that most people don't know is that condottieri, those are mercenaries. Those are really good for Sicily, and they're definitely hired. They're not very brave, but they're very strong cav for their price and all. They're very cheap, like 600 florins. It's great. I love them, even though that they aren't the greatest unit in the game. Now we have Spain, the infamous Spain that's good at everything. They have conquistadors we've been through, Knights of Santiago again, sword and bucklermen again, all the elites over here. Hired-wise, again the gendarmes, those are hired. Mungvars, and then Tercio pikemen are also hired, swordsman militia still, and all these ones that we've seen before, those are still hired. Timurids, elephants, elite, both of them. Okay, let's leave it at that. If you want to spend money on them, be my guest, because, oh god, yeah. Be my guest, spend money on them. It'd be fun to see them. Awesome. Kunsgard, all these cav are here. Dismounted heavy archers as well. Now I put the Sabadar militia, even though they're great in melee. If you don't have Sabadar militia, they don't have great anything. So I want to keep the Sabadar militia as hired for them, balancing them out and all. They have the horse archers here still. Haldir militia, those are technically hired, I would say. Afghan javelmen, definitely, and dismounted heavy lancers, definitely. Turks, Kwakapukulu, elite, great cav, very expensive, so if you're going to spend money on them, again, be my guest. Janissary, pretty much all the Janissaries are elites. Hashashim, again, elite and order unit. So then hired-wise, they have a bunch of mercenary cav. It was crazy when I was looking at it. Sipahi Lancers, not the Sipahis are elite. Sipahi Lancers and dismounted Sipahi Lancers I would consider hired. They're not at elite quality. So let's be clear about that. Ottoman infantry are elite as well. Venice, infamous Venice. Last ones we have here. General's Bodyguard, of course, Knights Hospitaller and Templar. Stratiots, I'm considering elite because they're just so overpowered, and if you use them, I hate you. I'm just going to leave that there. I hate you use Stratiots. I hate you. Don't use them. But you can if you must. Character standard still. Venetian archers and Venetian heavy infantry are both there. Hired is pretty much the same as all the other Italian factions. But, so, I want to thank you guys all for watching. I hope you guys understood this well. I hope you guys use this and make armies and really start using these rules. Again, it's a max 6 elite, max 10 hired, max 2 are no musketeers. They're really fun to use. Just try them out. It's a lot harder to choose an army. It balances out the factions well. And again, I want you guys to apply to join the tournament with these rules. It's using these rules. It's going to be fun. Please find a teammate. It's 2v2s. We're going to go more on that when you have teams and sort out the rules completely, because there's still going to be probably maybe 1 or 2 changes that we'll notify in later videos. But please, if you want to join, you can't find a teammate, just comment on here. Someone's going to find you, or look for someone on here. They'll find you on the comments, I mean. So you can find your teammates, and then you can get together, make a team, and then sign up and just comment, like I said, team name, the players, and locations, and that'll be great. So thank you all for watching. I hope you guys do as I said, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Goodbye, my friends.